this Memorial Day weekend, as most of us were paying tribute to the fallen men and women who served our country, Donald Trump was paying tribute to himself. At West Point's graduation ceremony, Trump delivered a commencement address that sounded more like a campaign rally, including a long, rambling section about a real estate mogul and his trophy wife. His words, not ours. On a more serious note, Trump skipped a presidential tradition, shaking the hands of graduates as they received their diplomas. Yesterday at Arlington National Cemetery, Trump had a similar focus.
In addition, we have the World Cup and we have the Olympics. Can you imagine? I missed that 4 years, and now look what I have. I have everything. Amazing the way things work out. God did that.
Okay. West Point. I have Vice President Harris spoke at West Point and gave the commencement speech there. President Biden has done the speech. It is a presidential tradition. So many presidents. Last year, Biden stood for more than an hour shaking the hands of the graduates of West Point. I was there when
Over 1,000.
Over 1,000. I was there when Vice President Harris did the Naval Academy, and she shook the hands of every graduate. It is what you do, but you don't do it in campaign march. What more does Donald Trump have to do to let the servicemen and women and aspiring servicemen and women of this country know he does not care? It is just another backdrop for him to give a campaign speech. He does not respect our military. The Bone Spurs man is up there in the Make America Great Again act.
He doesn't. But to be fair, I guess.
Fair. Okay, I'll take that.
There are those who would understand. I know some folks who were attended that ceremony at West Point, who were all up in it. They loved seeing the president stand there. So look, we are at a time.
But did they hear him? Because people like to watch him,
well,
but did they listen to what he had to say?
You know, I think it's enough to have him walk into the arena and stand there doing the speech in a Make America Great Again hat at a solemn ceremony like that, where you're commissioning young second lieutenants to military service and helping them take their next step in protecting and defending the Constitution. But you're doing it in a MAGA hat, so you clearly don't care about them or the office you hold as a representation of those values. So, yeah, but there were people who liked it. And so it just reminds me that we live in a time where we have to struggle and work every day to make sure we hold on to those things, as you noted, Simone, that do still hold value for a lot of people out there.
Yeah, traditions. I mean, Simone, you spoke about what President Biden was able to do, the fact that he shook all of those hands. To your point, it wasn't just him. President Obama did the same at West Point in 2010, Bill Clinton in 1997, George W. Bush in 2006. This is a time-honored tradition, but we have seen no honoring of traditions in this presidency. Instead, we got that rant on trophy wives. We got the bit about the real estate mogul. You had trashing of diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. And then I'm not sure if you both caught it, but in his Memorial Day address, he also had an anti-immigrant rant. And so I think it's important to remind the president and those who, to Simone's point, might have actually listened to him. There are an estimated 45,000 immigrants actively serving in our U.S. military. That means that there are about 5% of our veterans who are foreign born. So you want to tell the story about who we are, about the way we love this country, about the service we render, then tell a complete story.
Well, and so for me, you show who you are by what you say. And when you start your Happy Memorial Day message with reference to a former president as scum, you no longer anything you say after that is futile. It's worthless. I mean, what is the point? Have Americans sunk to the point where that is what moves them and energizes them? A president speaking like a 10-year-old?
I have a 10-year-old, and he does not talk like that.
That's because
his
vocabulary. That's because you raised him well.
You know, his vocabulary is leaps and bounds than from what we see coming from the president. Look, I know we got to go, but there are just some things that we used to agree on, and it we have to continue to remind people about that. And one of the things you should have been and should still be reverence for our military, for our servicemen and women that put their lives on the line so that we could barbecue yesterday. The people that were out there barbecuing, we have Memorial Day because soldiers died for our right to have freedom here at home. And there are people out here serving right now who have been separated from their families for so long. And it bothers me that the president doesn't seem to care about that.